How do? Got a absolutely shocking story here. Now, this is from October 2023, so it's not obviously breaking news, but it is incredibly important, I do think, and it is another example of how the United Kingdom is an absolute joke of a country. Well, I mean, some people might not say it's a country, but you know what I mean. Um, just shocking, absolutely shocking. Let's just get on with this. It's basically about Edinburgh getting a little bit of cultural enrichment and the absolute state of um, how this has been dealt with. Gambian rapist 43 who arrived in the UK illegally before attacking a woman at knife point cannot be deported after arguing he might not be given proper medical treatment in his home country. Oh no. Oh, well, somebody please think of the rapist and his medical needs. What a shame for this human being. Obviously, the needs of the general public at large and his victims do not matter because he needs his medical treatment and he might not receive that back home. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. Not our problem. Um, that man should be on the first plane once he gets out of prison. Gone. Literally out of prison, onto a secure bus, to a plane. Bye bye. Never see you again. Not our problem. You've dug this hole. You can live in it now. A foreign rapist branded a danger to women. I mean, there we go, branded a danger to women. This means that if and when he does leave prison, he may very well go on, be likely to go on to commit more crimes afterwards. Has been allowed to stay in the UK because he might not be given proper medical treatment in his home country. Joim Cardos, 43, was an illegal immigrant in Edinburgh and he was dealing drugs. So not only did he enter the United Kingdom illegally and went on to rape a woman, and this isn't the first time we've had a story like this on this channel, he also was dealing drugs as well. Oh, what a fantastic human being. Like we don't have enough people like that in the country already. Get rid of him. When he raped a woman at knife point and left her fearing for her life, I think the woman was more than fearing for her life. I think she probably had a life flashing before her eyes while it was happening. Get my words. The poor woman was probably petrified while that was happening to her. That is absolute torture for any human being to be held at knife point and have the sanctity of your body violated like that. Absolutely disgusting. And I know I say it in lots of my videos, but not only does this man does need prison, he also needs flogging as well. Absolutely disgusting and vile human being, in my opinion. After serving a jail sentence for what a judge described as a violent and persistent attack that had a devastating impact on his victim, he was ordered to be sent back to his native Gambia. Well, that's a good start right there. Despite the law stating that foreign nationals guilty of serious crimes should be automatically deported, the sex offender launched a human rights challenge, arguing that his health would suffer in his West African homeland. Oh, my heart aches for the man. My heart bleeds for his medical needs after what he has put his victim through and the heartache and the social damage that he's caused with his drug dealing as well. I am so concerned about this individual and his human rights. Yes. Not the victim's rights, not the rights of society, not the rights of everybody else to get on with our lives in safety and not have to worry about nonsense like this. No, his rights are the ones that matter and trump everybody else's. What an absolute clown show of a legal system we have. Absolutely shocking that was even entertained. In a move that justice campaigners have called an insult to his victims, understatement of the century right there, an immigration tribunal ruled in favour of letting Cardos remain in the UK. And again, this is what I keep saying about the law, and I've said this multiple times. Don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. Right, our leaders, now this is in Scotland, obviously, but Parliament, believe it or not, does actually have the final say in a lot of things, including Scotland. The powers that Scotland has, whether people there like it or not, is given to the Scottish Parliament. And Parliament can take those rules back if need be. But even that aside, take the Scottish Parliament itself. They all talk tough on this sort of thing. We will deal with these people. We will keep you safe. What do? Nothing at all. They allow the clown show to continue unabated. They are not interested in protecting wider society. They are interested in protecting nonces and illegal immigrants. That is all they are interested in, because for them, this makes them look like good people on the world stage. So they can stand in front of the cameras and go, look at how compassionate we are as a country. Look at us bringing all these vulnerable people over. Aren't we kind? Aren't we caring? Whilst sacrificing the average citizen on the altar of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is absolutely sickening that these people allow this to keep happening. And in my opinion, they are traitors. Absolutely disgusting. The tribunal agreed, if deported, the rapist would experience genuine difficulties being able to access a regular supply of his necessary medications and would face a real risk of social isolation and stigmatization. Oh, what a poor rapist. Oh, what a poor rapist. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. He'll go home and he'll be stigmatized by a wider community and he'll have social isolation. Oh, 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 what a shame. Oh, please spare a moment for the poor rapist and drug dealer. Will somebody think of the rapists and the drug dealers' rights, please? These people are sick in the head. These people who work on these tribunals are absolutely sick in their head. How they can go, and I know they'll come out with a justification of, well, somebody has to do these rules and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know what? The people who are working at Auschwitz probably said the same thing. Well, you know, it needs to be done. I'm just doing my job. Somebody's got to press the button on my Zyklon B, haven't they? Somebody's got to do it. And if I don't do it, somebody else will. It's just sick in the head. Absolute disgusting human being. And that's the thing, right? Evil things, it gets done by the most evil institutions is bureaucratic evil, where people just sign pieces of paper and just allow these things to happen. Just signing it off, it's just part of the process. It's not my fault. It's just, don't blame me. It's just the process. I'm just a cog in the machine. There's nothing I can do. Well, you can quit your job. You can find a new form of employment and not be engaged in it. The fact that you're actually engaging in it means that you're engaged in evil. These people are genuinely, in my opinion, evil human beings. Very, very corrupted by the institutions that they work in as well, because they try to be blind to it. Institutionalized is what some might call it. I call it willfully ignorant, personally. Anyway, let's carry on. Last night, critics said the case showed the immigration system was putting the rights of foreign criminals ahead of public safety or the feelings of victims. Well, it's not just the feelings of victims, don't get me right. I mean, wrong. Feelings to a certain degree matter, but you can't measure them. It's not like you can give me a cup of feelings, or, you know, you can't give me a meter of feelings or something. But what you can do is actually say this is going to impact on victims by trauma that it will cause them. Now, that things like that you can measure. You know, this is going to have psychological impact, and it's going to cause severe stress, anxiety, and you know, I mean, simply saying feelings, I think is very poor wording by the newspaper. I don't think that's intentional, and I think they have meant a much stronger meaning than that. But I do think they could have worded that far better. I mean, maybe I'm just being pedantic and picky. I don't know, but I do feel they could have articulated that particular sentence much better. Scottish Conservatives Justice spokesman Russell Finlay said the rapist victim may well despair at the unsatisfactory outcome of these protracted legal proceedings, which again call into question the effectiveness of removing dangerous overseas criminals from our streets. Absolutely, it is an absolute shambles of a situation that we have in the league, and it's not just in this; it's the whole. I mean, we've seen it with the post office, like the absolute show that's been. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that child maintenance is exactly the same as well. The amount of people that end their own lives because of child maintenance is unbelievable. And I can tell you for a fact that child maintenance refused to keep a record of the number of life-ending incidents that happen, because I've asked them for that information in regards to my case, for my legal proceedings that I'm taking against them, and they refuse to take keep any records whatsoever, because they want, in my opinion, is so they can have plausible deniability that there's any link between them. Although they do try to use obfuscated language, saying, "Well, we can't guarantee that. It's been our decisions and what we've done that's pushed people over the edge." I think that's absolutely poppycock myself and a cop out. Once again, it's bureaucratic individuals trying to renege on any sort of duty that they have, duty of care to wider society, and just trying to blame the system itself. You know, I'm just a cog in the machine, mate. Just don't blame me. I'm just a cog in the machine. It's our entire political system is rife with this sort of evil, and it is evil as far as I'm concerned. Cardos arrived in Britain in June 2007 on a visitor visa. Oh, look, a visitor visa. That is something that we keep hearing about as well, isn't it? These visitor visas and student visas. That's where these are the absolute bane of the immigration system, these kinds of visas. When his leave to remain expired in June 2008, he stayed on illegally, living in Edinburgh and dealing drugs. Well, it's because nobody chases them up. They come in, they get the visa stamped. There's no actual logging of these people. They don't, like, there's no database that where whoever's coming into the country is kept on it. So the actual Home Office has no idea how many people are actually in the country. You know, it's like recently when they were in Parliament and the Tories were grilling the Border Force bosses about it, and they were saying, well, what's happened to these 17,000 Albanians who you've basically written off? And they just went, I don't know. Well, how many Albanians have you deported? I don't know. How many Albanians are left in the country? I don't know. What about other illegal immigrants? I don't know. They don't have a clue. And I think a lot of that is intentional as well. I genuinely believe it's intentional, because I believe these institutions are very, very much into political activism. And I believe that a lot of them are riddled with communists. And I say that quite a lot, but I genuinely believe that these people are fifth columnist communists who are wrecking the United Kingdom. In October 2011, a 26-year-old marketing executive who had got his phone number outside a nightclub went to his flat in the capital's Delray area to buy a small quantity of cannabis. When he tried to kiss her, she turned him down, but he pushed her into the bedroom. The woman later told a trial at the High Court in Edinburgh, I could just see his eyes widen and his nose flare. Well, that sounds like his adrenaline was kicking in. It just looked like an angry face. He said he was going to kill me. He said to me, do you know how many people I have killed? Well, this sounds like a wonderful human being. How enriching to our society and culture is it having this individual living amongst us? And especially now that we're going to be paying for his medical treatment for the rest of his life. Doesn't that fill you with joy and pride? That not only are we keeping this man safe and housed and fed, but we're also paying all of his bills with our taxes. What a wonderful, wonderful situation we live in, isn't it? Strength of diversity, right there on display. Cardos grabbed her throat and she briefly passed out. Well, there's the strength of diversity. When she came to, she found he was not in the room, but he returned. She said, this time he had a knife. He kept saying I was bad and he was going to kill me. I thought he had flipped or was on drugs or something. Cardos then raped her. Well, he probably was on drugs and he probably had flipped, to be fair. She's probably absolutely right there. This man really deserves a death sentence for this. This is absolutely disgusting. Passing sentence in July 2012, Judge Lord Hardy said there was a high risk of reoffending and Cardos posed a danger to women. Well, let's put him down then. That is the solution. He clearly is no use to anybody. He's a net drain and a gross drain on society. He provides nothing, brings nothing to the table other than despair, anguish and pain to society and human beings around him. Put him down. Just put him down. It would be cheaper. A bullet costs pence. And then burn his body at Drax. So then at least he's contributing to society by acting as energy, a form of electricity. He may give us a couple of watts of energy, keep somebody's light bulb on for half an hour as his body burns in the incinerator there, generating steam for the turbines. Cardos was sentenced to 8 years for rape and a further 3 years for dealing a Class B drug, having started his sentence at 8 years. 8 years for that. That is absolutely shocking. There's people who go to prison for over 20 years for selling football matches illegally. You know, and he gets 8 years for that. That's the absolute state of our system. And that tells you exactly what they prioritise, by the way. Corporations and the taxes. Mess with the government's taxes, oh, you're going to get screwed. Tell you what, you'll be going to prison for 20, 30 years if you mess with the tax system. Rape somebody, oh, we'll give you 5 to 8 years. You'll be out in 4 years with good behaviour. That's what the government cares about. Taxes. As long as they're getting their cut of your money, they're happy. That's all they care about, really, at the end of it. It's the bottom line. It's the GDP. It's that line going up on the graph. That's all they actually care about. That's what this mass immigration is about, by the way. It's about having more consumers in the country because it makes the country look more productive because they can sell more things. That's all they're interested in is these GDP graphs, not actual making anybody actually wealthier. It's just about having more people to buy things. It's why they don't care about these illegal immigrants, because every one of them needs a house, they need a fridge, they need a washing machine, they need clothes, they need food, they need trainers, mobile phones. The consumers, which means that there's more products getting sold and there's more cash moving around. They don't care if they're actually providing any sort of wealth or creating wealth. All they care about is that they're moving cash through the system. And that's all it is to them. It's just a way of keeping the GDP moving, keeping the cash turning instead of going stagnant. Having started his sentence at HMP Dumfries, he was later sent to the state hospital at Carstairs, Lanarkshire, after he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Well, that's something that they always like to say. I've noticed in a lot of these. You see, when people from Africa and Jamaica and that and the Caribbean get arrested for these violent crimes, they usually try and put it down to something like schizophrenia. Look out for that when you start seeing, like if you see, I don't know, in London, a guy swinging a machete around and having to get tasered and stuff. If you follow that story, you'll probably find more times than not that the person had schizophrenia or they will claim they had schizophrenia. And I wonder if that's now becoming a sort of way of trying to brush these sort of crime, this level of crime under the carpet. If it's sort of like become like I don't know, I can't think of the words for it really, a way of compartmentalising the problem, I guess. He returned to the prison when doctors found his condition could be controlled with medication. I don't care. Well, I mean, that's another reason to put him down as well. If he's that dangerous because of his mental health, again, put him down. In January 2019, Cardos was served with a deportation order, but immediately launched a challenge with the Asylum and Immigration Tribunal. Well, he can't be that mentally unwell if he can do that, can he? Well, saying that, that'll be activists getting involved. There'll be lawyers, and this is another problem that we have, is there's a massive industry here based around these sorts of people, and these lawyers and solicitors and charities are making an absolute fortune backing these people up. He argued that the medication he was receiving to treat his mental health would not be available in Gambia. I couldn't care less. The Home Office ordered, he should have thought about that before committing the crime, really, shouldn't he? Because part of his punishment, it's not that we're denying him his medication. He, through his actions, is denying himself his medication by committing such an egregious crime that it's going to result in him getting deported. So we're not responsible for him not getting access to his medication. That is him having to take personal accountability. And this is another problem we have with our society, is we infantilise everybody too much. Oh, well, we can't do that. That's cruel. That's not fair. What can they do? It's like, no, well, they've made their bed. Now they have to lie in it and sleep in it. Personal accountability and personal responsibility. We need to bring that back to society. That's another big problem. The Home Office ordered to give him enough medication to last 3 months, plus £1,250 to buy further supplies. He refused the offer, and tribunal judges ruled that sending him back to Gambia would potentially breach his human rights. Oh no! And we're going to give him money as well. What a shame. Oh, how unfair. Winds me up. Really, really winds me up. They said there was a real risk that he will experience genuine difficulties in the Gambia in being able to access a regular supply of his necessary medication. Well, you know what? He did all right up until 2007 before he entered the UK illegally. He seemed to be getting on just fine there without the medication before that. So why all of a sudden is this medication so important now? I think it's actually an excuse, a legal excuse that's been created. I actually think that these solicitors have actually created a situation, a problem that never actually existed before. That's just my inkling. And I've got a feeling that these judges are probably not the wisest of people, in my opinion. The Home Secretary appealed the decision, but the challenge was rejected last month. This is being last year. Dame Justice Henrietta Hill said the Secretary of State for the Home Department fails to establish any proper basis to interfere with the decision. Crazy story. Absolutely pathetic legal system that we have. What a corrupt human rights panel that we have. Judges, whatever they want to call themselves. They are fifth columnists as far as I'm concerned and traitors. Weak system. Beyond actual reform. I think the whole thing just needs ripping out and replacing with something new, including a lot of the people who are involved in it. Just shocking, that. Absolutely shocking. I'm going to leave it there anyway. I think there might be a second part to this. I'll have a quick check online. If there is, I'll post the second half tomorrow. I think there's an update story about it. As I say, I'll check that. If this story that has part one on the end of it, that means that there is a second part to it, which I'll post tomorrow. All right. Anyway, I'll leave it at there. If you found that interesting or intriguing or whatever, please like, subscribe, put a comment below, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye bye.